Hello, gorgeous. So glad you are here. Welcome to TSFS, brand new episode. I'm your host, Sarah Fraser. A lot of new fans checking us out because of the three-part Mary Brown series from Sister Wives. If you're new, I'm a pop culture show every single day. Oh God, I guess I'm at that point where do I start telling people how long I've been doing it? On the one hand, it's like, oh, okay, she's been in the entertainment business for like 17 years. On the 2005. Oh my God, we're actually at almost 20. I can't. I forgot it, bitch. I'm not saying it. I'm a pop culture show, and I am a new pop culturist. Okay. Anyhow, no, longtime radio personality in the Washington, D.C. area on Hot 99.5's The Kane Show, and then later Sarah Ty and Mel, Fox 5 DC. You've probably also seen me on Married at First Sight. I've been on their after shows, Couples Couch. So a lot of people know me from that too. Welcome. We have a lot to get to. On Tuesdays, I usually recap my personal life and some fun pop culture that I follow. Today, have you been following the Ballerina Farms drama on TikTok? If you are not familiar with this story, don't worry. I got you. I will get you up to speed. Also, a little mini update on my egg donor journey. Y'all know I'm trying to have baby number 2. I've been trying for 2 years since my son KJ, who is 3, was born, and I've had 2 miscarriages since, a failed round of IVF. It's not good, and I know many of you can relate, but the tides are changing. I can feel it. So we've moved on to egg donor. The other thing too is I watched the documentary Dirty Pop about Lou Pearlman, and I thought I knew everything there was to know about Lou Pearlman, who really started NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, O-Town. Then he did like a boy band, making the boy band show. I thought he was a child molester who like died of a drug overdose and went to jail for being a child molester. I have the story all wrong. Okay. So actually, I shouldn't even say that because that's completely inaccurate of what happened. You're like, wait, was any of that true? Why are you saying it? I don't know. I don't know. You know what? We say what we want on this show. So we have that to get to. And also, if you missed it on my social media, I did wait in line. I don't know. I kind of think this is becoming my thing because I really enjoy it. But I waited in line for the Kylie Jenner Crumble Cookie Limited Edition 6 cookie series and also her elixir, her skin tint elixir. I'll give you a little brief rundown on that. Okay, so let's just get into Ballerina Farms. If you are unfamiliar with who this is, if you're like, what are you talking about? Maybe you've seen this story trend. Ballerina Farms follows the trad wife, although she does not like that title, of Hannah Nealman and her husband, Daniel. They have 17 million. Okay, I just hit 100K on TikTok, and I think it literally took me 8 years since TikTok was in its beta testing. That's how long it's taken. You're probably going, maybe it's your content, bitch. Well, I don't care. I want to know why I can't be Ballerina Farm. So she has 9 million followers, I think, on TikTok, but then she has several other million on different platforms. So across platforms, she has 17 million followers. And she is what people describe as a traditional wife. She stays home with her 8 children. She documents the whole thing on this insanely gorgeous farm that they own. And I'll tell you why it's gorgeous. And she makes her own butter. Like, would you even know how to make butter? Like, I don't even know what a butter churner looks like anymore. Well, spoiler, you can apparently make it in your KitchenAid mixer because that's how she does it. She makes everything from scratch, documents it to the point she has such a cult following that she and her husband they do like you can get a subscription box of their organic meats and then they do their breads. And I believe the bread box is something around $200 and it's croissants and you bake them. You know, they're made at the farm or they're made from her recipe. So she sat down with the UK Times, the Times in the UK to do this interview. And the interview, some people think is backfiring. Other people are like, leave this woman alone, let her live her life. This is what she wants to do. But people have very hot feelings on this. And of course, I do too. I love stories like this because I enjoy a good debate. So she Okay, and the other thing you need to know about this story, which I didn't think that the writer of this article did a very good job about, is both Daniel and Hannah are Mormon. So I have recently learned, because coming up on TSFS, I have a very big guest who is related to Cody Brown and Robin Brown and the Brown family. All right. And this person goes into more details about the Mormon religion. Now, I'm just over the division in our country. I say this on all our shows. I don't care what religion you are. I don't care what politics you are. Are you a good person? Are you trying to leave this world a better place? Are you trying to do something different? I can agree to disagree with people. I enjoy conversations with people that I have different opinions with. And over the years, my opinions have changed. I'm sure yours have. So I always think it's fascinating, right? But what I've learned about the Mormon religion is there are some subsets of the Mormon division, meaning there's different types of Mormons, like there's different type of Catholics. I'm Catholic. There's some Catholics that want to go back to Vatican I, which is like hardcore. The women wear veils, they wear dresses all the time. There's some Catholics that really practice every single thing that the Catholic Church does, meaning, they're anti-gay marriage and they're up for Lent. Then there are cafeteria Catholics like myself that pick and choose things that I love about the Catholic Church and others that I don't. Same thing with Mormonism. But in Mormonism, I've recently learned this in the Mormon religion. For some Mormons, there is a level of they believe that your life here on earth is meant to be hard. That's what God wants for them. Okay. That it's meant to be difficult. You're meant to labor. You're meant to have struggles, because once you get to heaven, if you can survive and thrive through all the despair here on earth, your reward is this beautiful heaven, right? I believe religion and God is the opposite. I believe God is loving, caring, wants abundance for people. At least that's what I say all the time. I do my morning mantra and everything. And I'm like, God, let me be rich and famous. Like, I know you want me to be. I don't know. I read some Bible things. They're like, you can ask God for anything. Okay, well, let me do good with all of my powers. Like that. I believe God is an all loving and abundant God, and we are meant to enjoy our lives, and they are meant to unfold easily. And you can do many things in your life to work towards them. Okay. But this story really fails to take in their Mormon religion. And here's the summary of the story why people are losing their minds. The article, the woman first thinks that she is going to be able to sit down with Hannah. Hannah, her kids are homeschooled, but they do hire a teacher. And P.S., Daniel is the heir to the JetBlue fortune. Okay. He's a billionaire. And the farm that they live on is picture perfect. They have an Aga stove. I didn't even know what one was. They're those, they look like an old timey stove, but they're new. They're $45,000 if you get an 8 range. And I think she has like a 6 or 8 range, right? So the stove alone is that. It has a slow cooker in it. It has I think, instant pot built into it. And the whole idea of these AGA range ovens is the slow cook. And so everything, the flavor is 10 times what you get in a conventional junky oven that the rest of us have. All right. So do I want an AGA? Yeah. Do I want to cook in it? No. I want my staff to. But right. But I mean, once in a while, I enjoy making a cookie, but I ain't going to be like Ballerina Farm here. Okay. I am not freaking making a croissant from scratch. So they're going through this article. She thinks she's going to have some one-on-one time with Hannah, and it doesn't happen because Hannah is constantly being interrupted by Daniel and their kids, right? Which I will say this, no offense to the writer at all, and I'm going to say this and I don't want it to sound snarky like, "Oh, do you have kids?" But I feel like the writer either has one child or none, because every mother knows once you have a kid and you're trying to do an interview or speak or have a conversation with people, it's impossible. Okay. Your best friend could literally be sitting there telling you about how their husband is sleeping with like another 8 men. They're getting divorced and he's stolen all your money and, on a treasure hunt out in the desert to try to find gay gold. I don't know. And your child would literally come up to you and go, "Mom, can I have more pretzels?" "Sure, go get the pretzels." "Mom, these pretzels aren't the right like, so I don't know what the writer was expecting when the kids were there and Daniel was there, but you don't get a break when you have children, all right? So but the article just goes downhill from there. And the alarming things that people see, or some people see, is at one point, Daniel says to the writer that Hannah is so overworked sometimes because they don't believe in hiring nannies. Now, again, this is where the context of the Mormon church would be helpful because they probably don't believe in that because of their religion. Like it should be hard, it should be challenging. We should be with the kids all the time. So he says she works so hard, she'll be in bed for a week sick. After she just gave birth to their eighth child, a week later, she competes in a beauty pageant because she's been in all these Miss Utahs, Mrs. Nevada, Mrs. America. She's bleeding after they give all these details in the article. She's bleeding after her baby. She says to Daniel, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. And then, like 4 days later, the bleeding stops. She competes and she's just this idyllic mother. And if you're like me, the most, I think, hard to decipher thing of this whole article and Ballerina Farm was what's a trad wife. I spent way too much time Googling, which is just traditional wife. It's a traditional stay at home, the man leads, you cook, you clean, all that. She and Daniel say they don't identify with that because they're 50-50. And I mean, to be fair, they're making thousands of dollars off their Instagram and now thousands of dollars off of these food boxes that you can order. Okay. So they have a legit business. She is like a real businesswoman. But the question is she happy or is she sort of brainwashed and controlled by Daniel? I have to say, you should go read this article, have a glass of wine, suck yourself in, because for most of us, I don't think a lot of us live that life. Or I shouldn't say that. Maybe many of you are stay at home moms. And I feel like I have the best of both worlds. This is one of the reasons I'm launching my podcast course of how I've made six figures and done this show because I want that for other women. There's something once you have a child, you want to be home with them. You want to be with them all the time. You worry about who they're with all the time. But so read this article. I would not want her life. I do not want to make anything from scratch, but the kids' lunches are from scratch. And I mean everything. Like they cook the chicken. The kids take the chicken, and even during the interview, the kids take the chicken out of the oven and start eating it on the table. I wish I could get KJ to eat chicken. So it's very traditional and people are up in arms. They're even making videos because Hannah Nealman, went to Juilliard, was on her way to being a professional ballerina. And so people are posting videos of this woman doing some ballerina outtakes when she started her TikTok, saying, in another life, you'll be that ballerina. People got the sense from this article that Hannah feels trapped because at one point when Daniel walks away from the interview, she talks about one of her children she had at a hospital because, of course, they're home birthers. And she had an epidural and it was wonderful and it was lovely. But the rest of the time, she is no epidural. Like she gives birth at home. I don't know if Daniel's presiding or what. But I guess I just read this article and I thought, given the context of who they are, I don't find this that shocking. Do I want her life? No, I don't. It's not for me. I mean, I joked on my social media this past weekend, I have a trad husband. Like, he's the one that does all the laundry, does all the dishes, makes my life easier. I don't know. We all get to chip. And then people, had the debate of like, this is anti-feminist. Isn't feminism the right to choose what you want? Whether you want to be a traditional stay-at-home mom or if you want to make butter from scratch. And again, I don't find her traditional because has a social media company now. She's making a fortune. 17 million followers. I mean, they're making a ton of money off ads. So I didn't find it all that shocking, but people are very outraged by this. They feel that there's red flags. The writer at one point in the article, like I said, the article's great, a great read. At one point, the writer is annoyed because Daniel wants to give her a tour of the farm, show her where the chickens live, show her a ditch, which is such a man, right? Like the men would be like, come get on my whatever Kawasaki, four-wheeler and let's check out the ditches and what I've done with them. Like no one cares about other dudes. So it was kind of comical, but also I just think this woman, unless she is trying to send signals to people. She also grew up Mormon. I feel like this is the life she wants. And I, I don't know why that they wouldn't want to hire a nanny. I have no clue when you're a billionaire. But then also to me, I find that sometimes like you always want the opposite of what you had. So like rich kids want to make it hard for themselves. Poor kids want to be rich. That's me. I mean, I don't know. It seems like they always want the opposite. Now, Hannah didn't grow up rich. Her parents were hardcore Mormon, it sounds like, but they did do equal things. They equally worked. But I don't find this that shocking. I don't. And people are like, this woman needs a trip to Greece because they put on their social media at one point, and I think the video's been taken down. For her birthday, she opens a box and it's from Daniel. And she's like, okay, it's tickets to Greece, right? It's tickets that we're going to go to Greece. And she opens up an egg apron and she's like, oh my God, thank you. No woman wants an apron. I don't care if you are a trad wife. No woman wants an apron or a vacuum or a treadmill on their birthday or on Christmas. And women want gifts. I have so many friends that their significant others like, don't buy them anything on their birthday or gift. Women love gifts, okay? And if they don't love gifts, then they want something done for them. Or, I mean, it's just something in our DNA for the most part. Anyhow, I am fascinated. I had to stop watching her. I don't follow Ballerina Farm on Twitter because to me, it's just a lifestyle that I'm never going to have. And I don't find it soothing to watch someone make sourdough bread or she makes this it looks unbelievable, this chicken parmesan, but she like goes out, hacks up the chicken. She doesn't really do that, but whatever, you know what I mean. She like basically does everything but cut the chicken's head off and makes everything makes the mozzarella from scratch. Who's making the mozzarella from scratch? No, I'm not. Like, I don't find it relaxing. I find it actually more like uptight to me. It's like, because I way to show me something I'm never going to accomplish. This is like me watching someone climb Mount Everest. You think I give a shit? I'm never even going to get the hiking boots on to head to the, the base, let alone get to the summit. I mean, so I don't watch her. But this is what drives me nuts about movements. Isn't feminism about choice? And I mean, if this woman is uploading her own videos with all this stuff, spending hours making mozzarella, if she doesn't want to be with him, I think she probably wouldn't be. Because it seems like she's got a lot of independence. Anyhow, there it is. Do I want to be with Daniel? No. Is he my type of guy? No. Do I think that she does what Daniel wants? Yeah. And I read the article and I thought to myself, this woman is either thrilled and this is the life she wants, or she has some regrets and she's beginning to feel it and she's 35 now, but when she's 50, she's going to really rebel and we're going to see her on Housewives. It could go either way, but it wasn't that outraged. Now you're caught up. My baby update. Oh, but let me thank a sponsor. Let's thank Horizon Fibroids. Speaking of women, Ballerina Farm has 8 kids. Well, if you're trying to have one child, and that's the other reason I can't watch her. This bitch is so fertile. I swear to God. These women too, that they are super religious and homeschool, they always can pump out like 9 kids. Does it help that she's been doing that since she was 25? Yes. Did I start too late? Yes. But I like to compare. Anyway, if you're having heavy periods, long periods, or you're finding you can't get pregnant, you may have fibroids. That's where you need to go see my guy, Dr. Will Neem at horizonfibroids.com. You can make a website. Now, Dr. Will Neem is only seeing patients in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia areas. In the DMV, place where it all started for me. So if you are a Maryland galley, if you are a DC or Virginia woman, or you have a friend that might be suffering with fibroids, because fibroids can cause you bleeding and heavy periods to the point you're getting iron transfusions every month or blood transfusions. You don't have to live like that. And you also do not necessarily need to get a hysterectomy, which so many women, including women who have written to me that listen to this show, have had on the advice of their OBGYNs. Do not do that. See Dr. Will Neem, a top fibroid doctor in the country, but unique to the DC region. Go to horizonfibroids.com. If you're worried about insurance, he accepts almost all insurance. You can see him, and they will work with you to find a way to make sure that you get in. horizonfibroids.com. My quick egg donor update is, last week I told you guys we found the perfect egg donor, I think, for us. And she and Dan are both carriers of a genetic disorder that essentially can lead to high levels of iron in the body. And of course, if it goes untreated, can lead to liver failure, organ failure, etc. It doesn't sound like it's a particularly great genetic disorder to have. It doesn't sound like it's the worst. Like it sounds like you can have a child born with that. They can live a healthy life, but can lead to some complications. So we are trying to work out now to see a genetic counselor and figure out like, is this doable? Could we do PGT testing? A lot of you guys said online to me, like, you should ask about PGT testing. Maybe you could do that, which is essentially just a genetic test where they take some cells and they test to see if, you know, this little embryo is a carrier. And when both partners carry the same genetic disorder, your child has a 25% chance of having it, right? So 1 in 4 of those eggs that fertilized probably is a carrier for this disorder. But we have found a second donor. Last week, I told you we found a woman, dog girl, that I initially thought was perfect. But she said on her profile that she was mean as a child and acted like a dog till she was 5. And that was a red flag for me. I don't know. I don't know. I guess you get a sense. I don't even know sometimes if my gut is right half the time. I feel like it's 50-50, but that one left a lasting impression. So now we appear that we have found a second donor that we really like, a third, actually, I should say. And sh love her. Love everything she has to say. She has no genetic carrier screening. She doesn't have any genetic issues for anything. She's 6 feet tall, though. Guys, do you think, and Dan's 5'10". Is this girl gonna be 6'1"? And, like, if she's not in the WNBA, is being tall, like, a great thing for women, or did you hate it? Because I feel like most tall women that I know don't really like it. Don't you feel like 5'6" for a woman is fabulous? But then I think about Juliana Rancic. Remember Juliana Rancic from E! News? How tall is Juliana? She's gotta be 6 feet tall, and I've seen her in real life. Bill Rancic's very tall. Rancic, let's see, how tall is she? 5'9". All right. Well, she's stunning in real life. Okay. I wish I could get in touch with her. Juliana, do you like being 5'9"? Or do you feel like 5'5" would have been good? I'm 5'3". I haven't mind. I've liked being a tiny peanut most of my life, you know? Is it hard to reach things? Is it hard to see things? Yeah, but it hasn't been that bad. If you're a tall woman, will you hit me up? And now Dan has dubbed this donor the Amazon woman. So we've gone from dog girl to Amazon, but I really like her. Seems so sweet and kind in the profile. I also went to the Kylie Jenner Crumble limited edition not really opening, but it was Kylie Jenner has a new elixir out, a skin tint elixir. Went to that. This has sort of become my thing because if you don't know this, a couple of months ago, I went viral for going to the Something About Her sandwich shop opening from the Vanderpump Rules girls. It was all great until like they just stopped communicating with people halfway through the day, left this huge line of people of 200 people, including moms holding children. We were never going to get sandwiches. I didn't get a sandwich. They didn't hand out water. They didn't hand out free samples. Oh, and by the way, nobody communicated. Again, all that fine. Just say to us, hey guys, we're running out of things. You're welcome to wait. If you want to wait for a picture for Ariana and Katie, they'll come out at 4. If not, we understand. They didn't do any of that. So I lost my shit and went viral. All right, went to the Kylie thing. First of all, Crumble cookie, I think actually is making improvements. So I got the cookies, the Kylie's limited edition, which were like a banana, terrible, a chocolate fudge, excellent, Kylie birthday cake, delicious, a sugar cookie Kylie, excellent, a con leche, very good, and a snickerdoodle I could go without. And the Crumble team was 5-star. Communicated the entire time. Ray from corporate flew out from Utah, was like right on it, going up and down the line, like, hey, everybody, only the first 100 people are getting the skin tint. If you'd like to wait, we have cookies. We have a lot of cookies. You all should be getting cookies, but that was it. So awesome communication. 4 hours for those cookies. Not worth it. Not worth it. But they were cooked more, because Crumble cookie is very divisive. mostly because they're not cooked in the middle. But I do think they've taken people's feedback because these were pretty much cooked all the way through. I think there was one, maybe the snickerdoodle that was not cooked, and a lot of people think they're way too sweet. I like sweet, like, I like a cupcake with a lot of sugary frosting, so I think in that regard, you're talking to the wrong gal, because I like a sweet, and I didn't think it was, like, overly sweet. I thought they'd taken feedback, and it's probably been a couple years since I've had a crumble cookie because we had them when we were in Virginia, and they, like, first opened in Virginia. So I'm gonna say it's been 2 or 3 years. I thought they'd improved, they'd gotten better. It wasn't really worth the 4-hour wait, but I would rate the cookies overall 3.5 out of 4. I mean, 3.5 out of 5. I would go back. The only bad thing that they did was the Kylie Jenner team, I think it was more them and I guess Crumble because they approved it. The first 100 people, they actually like matched the 100 people individually. They brought the person in, they matched the elixir to the person's skin tone, and then gave them the free elixir and the cookies. It was like, what? I honestly, I need to run events in Los Angeles. I do. Are you kidding? Like, make 2 lines, one for just the cookies, and then the other for the first 100 people, and hold out 100 packets of the cookies for those people if they want them. If they don't, you're going to sell them. What? We actually waited. That's why the line, because once you got in, it went immediate. I'm running events in Los Angeles. What is wrong? Like, I have figured it out. They just want it to look like there's a line. Don't get me started. Nothing irritates me more than a line, but I am a moth to a flame because I think I'm going to go and do these things. Like, I oddly enjoy it. I don't know why, because there's so much camaraderie in the line. That's what I like. And I'm going to start using it to promote my own stuff. There's no food. They don't give out any water. They don't give out any food. I'm going to roll up there with a rolling suitcase and give out my shit. Anyhow. So in that regard, it was so irritating, but the cookies were not as bad as I thought. Okay, last thing, Dirty Pop. Treat yourself. Dirty Pop, the boy band scam. If you thought you knew Lou Pearlman, if that name sounds familiar, Lou Pearlman is the semi-genius, I guess, behind NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, and other boy bands of the 90s and early aughts. I thought I knew Lou Pearlman, as I said at the start of this podcast, because I thought he was like a child molester that went to jail for that. Wrong. He had the longest running Ponzi scheme in history and never molested any kids. Now, obviously, we can say this because he's dead. No liability here. Amazing. 3-part documentary. You can stream it now on Netflix. It's trending. It continues to get a lot of buzz because, first of all, people are outraged a little bit about this because they use AI to bring back Lou Pearlman's voice. So Lou Pearlman narrates some of the jailhouse letters he wrote, some other things, and you're thinking to yourself like, "Oh, is that Lou's voice?" But then you look at the beginning of each video and it says voices in this production have been, modified by AI. So they use AI on his voice. People aren't happy about that. Chris Kirkpatrick is in it. Some of the other NSYNC, Backstreet Boys guys sit down. And really what it talks about is Lou died at the age of 62, massive heart attack. Ran the largest Ponzi scheme in history, stole about $500 million from people. And to this day, I think only something like 10 to 30 million has been paid back. Like, people really lost their shirts, unlike the Madoff situation, where people initially lost their shirts, but then the government stepped in and almost all of the Madoff victims have been given their money back or in the process of getting their money back. That was not the case with Lou Pearlman. He ran this transcontinental airline where he said, "Oh, I own jets, private jets, and I'm leasing these private jets to other boy bands and Britney Spears and Celine Dion and New Kids on the Block. They're renting, and so I'm making money. And that's how I'm making my music company," which was completely a lie. He was taking on investors like a Ponzi scheme does, using that money to fund the boy bands. He did this horrible music deal that really, like, I screwed everybody, and he made peanuts on. and launched NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. So, but the thing that to me is the most so they really get into the weeds of that, how he did it, how he kept it going. People that worked for him really liked him for the most part, except for one boy band guy that kind of went into business with him. And he's the one that got screwed by Lou and ends up tipping off the FBI. And that's how they start tracking Lou Pearlman. Okay. But the thing to me that was the most fascinating is they talked to them all because there was always this rumor out there that he had, maybe Lou Pearlman had allegedly sexually abused Nick Carter, Aaron Carter. Well, in the documentary, they all say that's not true, that nobody ever saw him do that. No one has ever come forward and accused him of that. They've accused him of being weird. Like Chris Kirkpatrick says that, he was always commenting on their abs. I mean, the guy I'm sure was gay, right? Well, how do I know that? I don't know. I think he was. I don't know if they ever knew that. I don't think he was ever with anyone, male or female. Okay, I take that back. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he was pansexual. I shouldn't say that. I have no idea. So, y'all know I'm trying. So I they all say that that was never true. He's like one of his main women that worked for him, his assistants, was like, it's absolutely false. I hate that rumor. He never abused any child. Now, was he into young guys, meaning like 20-year-olds, 19-year-olds? Yes. Did he want to see them without their shirts on? Yes. This is why I'm saying pan or he's down with the dudes. Just saying. But like that, the documentary kind of clears his name. I didn't know that. Excellent. I thought I knew everything there was to know about Lou Pearlman, but clearly I don't know anything. So I would highly recommend it. So good. That and read the Ballerina Farms article. Okay. Guys, this week, another jam-packed week of shows. Obviously, yesterday was the 3-part conclusion to Mary Brown from Sister Wives and her bestie, Jen Sullivan. They have never sat down with anyone before together to talk about Mary's Worthy Up. Was it a success? Would she ever go back to Cody and Robin? Her relationship with her child, Leon, and why Leon continues to be so controversial because they are trans. It's just so juicy. People are really enjoying it. So absolutely cue that up. All 3 parts are out. Tomorrow, we have a lot of TLC talk. We have a 90-Day Fiancé marriage. We have 90-Day Fiancé shows that are, coming out and dropping. We have a recap of Welcome to Plathville and The Surreal Life, which is so good on MTV that I'm watching. So always be sure to subscribe to TSFS everywhere you get your pods. All right. Bye, everybody.